worldview throughout. So it's only like at the beginning, but also during, even when they do the debate, and at the end after they do the debate, the reason also, and even when they do the final project explaining the rubric. So I think it's really good. It's a good insight, because sometimes we tend to explain the BCW only at the beginning or maybe at the end. So I think I learned a lot from Anya's book.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you. Yeah, there might be some people who agree or don't agree, right? Who thinks that too much PCW in the beginning and throughout the lesson. But there might be some of you who found this actually very well prepared, very well thought, very well prepared and thought previously, right? Okay, nah, okay, thank you, ya, Olin, ya. Okay, one more person maybe who would like to say something related to Anya's micro teaching first. Wait, guys, yeah, I need to ask my partner in life to just lower down his voice. Yeah, okay. Anyone else who would like to say something related to Olin, related to Anya's micro teaching? Yo, we will not move on if it's only one person saying something. Later, you will need to wait until another hour waiting and listening to my voice only, right? So it's time for you to make yourself voiced out. Anyone who is hungry? Anyone who is hungry already like me? But don't eat first in the middle of the class. Flip the brief. Ayo, one more student first before we go to my summary, yeah, toward Anya's micro teaching. Yeah, Fanny. Yes. Makanya cepetan, kan sudah mau makan siang, sudah makan siang kali. Cap cip cup ya, cap cip cup. Rema.
Hello, Ibu.
Hai Rema. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so my insight about Anya's micro teaching, well, actually, I really love the way Anya explained the lesson, how she teach the students, because I'm being the one of the students of Anya's micro teaching. So I really know that Anya's really well prepared, and the material that she deliver is really good for the grade. And I think for the BJW, I really love it, because it is important for students to know how they know about argumentative text, how they sought to be wise, responsible, as also responsive. So Anya's really menekankan that point to the students, so the students is really engage and know the importance of argumentative text. Okay, Bu, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you. As what Rema also mentioned, nearly in the closing part, yeah, you shared what you have learned also, right, from Miss Anya's lesson, right? And then you mentioned that you also learned about what is that? How to that we need to think about something before we do it, right? That's what you said, right, Rema? Yeah, in the closing part. Mm, when you said that, did you also learn that why should I learn and how why should I learn an argumentative text, and why is it important? If why is it important for you? Yes, you answered that by saying that yes, I learned that before we do something, we need to think about it, right? Yeah, so we need to have anticipative uh, action before we do something, right? But did you find how an argumentative actually is related to the BCW itself, Rema?
Yes, Ibu, because kan argumentative text itu uh, kayak kita berargumentasi tentang sesuatu, whether kita agree or not. So, the BCW menegaskan bahwa kita tuh harus be responsive dan be wise dengan apa yang kita katakan. Jadi kita harus mengerti dulu apa yang kita berbuat dan kita katakan, seperti yang ada di materi Anya juga tentang aborsi. Anya juga menekankan kalau kalau kita tuh jangan responsif dan be wise. Jadi kita jangan, kalau kita belum siap melakukan hal tersebut jangan kita buat. Tapi kalau misalkan udah terlanjur gimana, Miss? Terus Anya bilang kalau ya be responsible gitu. Jadi kayak sesuai gitu, Bu, sama gitu.
Oke, jadi inline ya, inline. Oke, very good loh. Rema bisa menjelaskan keterkaitan antara jawabannya Rema waktu itu di closing part dengan apa yang Anya sampaikan terkait dengan BCW-nya loh, gitu ya, dengan si grand narrative illustration yang very complete itu, gitu ya. We need to give appreciation for Anya for being able to display the very complete grand narrative with those illustrations, interesting pictures, yeah, that reminds us again about God's destiny, God's design for each one of our lives, yeah. Okay, but again, that's exactly what I'm going to point out, yeah, related to the BCW, Anya. So I know you're trying your best to make your students understand that the BCW is actually the basis of why we should be able to respond, to be responsive, to be what is it again? To be reflective, responsive, and responsible persons, right? Whenever we receive information or news, and we also need to filter them wisely so that we won't be kita tidak dimakan oleh hoax dan sebagainya gitu ya, untrustworthy information. And you kind of like picture those things using the grand narrative perspective, ya, Anya. But I think, what grade were you teaching? Sorry, Anya. What grade are your students again?
12.
Oh, 12, yes. Now, grade 12 students, of course, they are expected to understand very quickly, yeah, about what we are telling them about, right? But again, guys, in the real situation, even grade 12, they need guidance from us, step by step. Even if you could post like points by points on your PowerPoint slides about the relation between actually what you're going to say to them or emphasize to them, which is actually the core of an argumentative paragraph or argumentative text with the BCW. Actually, isn't it pointing out into the part where daily reconciliation that we need to go through every day? That is actually the most important part in the grand narrative story, yeah, that we need to emphasize to our students. For example, yeah, you don't need necessarily to explain the whole thing from the beginning until the end, from how God created the world, gitu ya, until the resurrection, ya, consummation, gitu ya. But maybe you can just point out where the part of this grand narrative that might remind your students to be reflective. Karena itu poinnya tadi kan reflective. And then when we can be a reflective learner, then we can also respond appropriately toward the situation or information received, gitu ya. And then responsible for the actions that we will have. Nah, daily reconciliation itu kan adalah gambaran di mana manusia itu memperlihatkan manusia yang limited, gitu ya, yang terus harus berproses, diproses oleh Tuhan, gitu ya, dengan hati yang mau dibentuk dan segala macamnya, gitu ya. Nah, that's actually the most important part where you can point out to make your students aware and realize about their existence as a broken human being, gitu ya, who needs help from God's grace to redeem their lives, to redeem their sins, gitu ya. Bener nggak? Itu nggak poinnya sebenarnya, Anya?
Yes, Bu.
Yeah, to redeem the mind, our mind and our centrism, gitu ya, as a human. Nah, baru dari situ, dari point daily reconciliation, baru kamu lebih dalam ngomongin tentang bagaimana nih bahwa as Christians, even though we don't need necessarily to only choose like the news or the informations that are in line with the Bible, but we could also respond to the information that are not even in line with the Bible, but we should give the right response to that. Like for example, abortion. Itu kan tidak sesuai dengan firman Tuhan, tetapi how we as Christians should respond to that issue, gitu ya. Jadi bukan berarti sebagai seorang Kristiani, kemudian kita hanya memilih informasi dan hanya menggunakan, bahkan misalnya kalian harus memilih resources, gitu ya, untuk paper kalian atau tugas kalian hanya memilih yang sesuai saja dengan firman Tuhan, tidak. Tetapi bahkan yang resources yang menurut kalian ini bertentangan dengan firman Tuhan, kalian bisa menggunakannya tetapi kalian harus filter, kalian harus analyze deeper, and then how to respond to that issue, gitu ya. And that's actually the core of being a person who can state your arguments fairly enough and understandable enough for your learners, for your readers, gitu ya. Nah, poinnya mengerti ya, Anya ya, poin yang saya tadi sampaikan ya. Ya, supaya memang penjelasan kamu mengenai si BCW ini tidak terlalu, kontennya nggak terlalu berat. Jadi pilih saja bagian yang memang langsung straight to the point, gitu. Ya, yang sesuai dengan si esensinya dari si argumentative text, gitu ya. And then another thing that I would also suggest is also where did you explain your expectations to your students, learning objectives-nya. Kapan ya, Anya, kamu menyampaikan hal ini?
In the beginning, Bu, so in the learning agenda, I put it on the first part, the beginning. So I tell them what I expect them to do in the today's lesson.
Oh, okay. Because when I check your lesson plan gitu ya, what you posted there is for your students to be able to write an argumentative text, right? Bener ya, itu kan learning objektifnya ya, betul?
Iya, yang
Betul. Artinya mereka akan produce something written gitu ya, bukan sesuatu yang oral gitu kan ya. Nah, the activities that you ask your students to get involved in is more on oral discussions, sharing gitu ya. Bener ya? Aktivitinya lebih ke sana dibandingkan dengan written. Betul? Betul ya? Nah, so that's why when I watch your video, I try to see the links gitu ya. Oke, nggak apa-apa sih aktivitinya practice orally. I mean, being like the pros and the cons. Yeah, and then try to share their sides gitu ya to each other. It's okay, tapi harus ada linknya. Linknya untuk so you have all done, guys. You have practiced how to share your opinions, those who are cons and pros, and then you also have learned how to make your standpoint. Okay, now it's time for us to make those ideas written, guys. Paling enggak kayak itu. Ada linknya di sana gitu ya, karena ini sepertinya kamu langsung jump ke assessment gitu kan ya. Itu sih, jadi lebih jelas untuk student kamu untuk bisa melihat koneksinya. I think that's all. Even though I wrote many things here for Anya's micro teaching ya, but since the time is not enough ya, I will share more to personal chat later on ya Anya ya. Okay, thank you. Now let's go to Theo's micro teaching. Saya langsung aja ya karena waktunya. Okay, so for Theo's micro teaching, I know that he's teaching also grade 12 students as well. Good opening session, and then he did the review also, but he might need also to link to the new topic from the previous activities that the students have done. And then BCW essential questions also he mentioned it, but not BCW-nya itu kan di tengah-tengah kan ya. Well, di tengah-tengah nggak apa-apa, asalkan nanti ketika activity berlangsung, ketika discussion group dari student itu sudah misalnya breakout rooms, kemudian go back to the main room. Nah, di situ BCW-nya kembali lagi di-emphasize gitu ya. I think I didn't see also Theo put the students in breakout rooms so that they can have time to at least digest what Theo has shared to the students, because students need time to discuss and digest, right? Do you need some time, guys? Whenever the lecturer is talking and talking and talking, do you need some time to discuss and digest within group? Maybe group work, something like that, during the breakout rooms? Betul nggak?
Yes, Bu, sometimes.
Yes. So that everybody will be on the same page, and then we can move on together, right? Yeah. That's what I miss also from Theo's micro teaching, even though actually that is a very good moment for the teacher to make sure that the students are at the same page, and also to emphasize the essential questions. Essential question yang tadi disampaikan oleh Theo itu adalah di bagian bawah sendiri setelah dia ngomongin tentang expectation dia, bahwa why is it important for us to learn about procedure text? Nah, why essential question is also something that you might need to also use to link between the essence of a particular text that you're going to teach your students with the BCW integration. Nah, kalau saya lihat dari Theo's micro teaching, saya bisa I might suggest him to link that by why, kenapa ya kita perlu belajar tentang procedural text? Dan Theo menjelaskan kan ya di di BCW-nya dia itu bahwa siapa yang masih ingat? Theo. BCW-nya Theo apa tentang procedural text tadi? From 19 students, anyone? Langsung lupa semuanya. Oh, yes, Olin, good. Yes, we are all representatives of God or representations of God gitu ya in this world. Betul. So how is the connection between the representation, our existence as representation of God and procedural text? Kalau yang dijelaskan oleh Theo tentang obedience kan ya, bagaimana Tuhan sudah menciptakan manusia with rules to follow, but because of sin and then men tend to disobey God, and then ya procedure-nya jadi berantakan gitu. Intinya seperti itu. Nah, I might suggest, created in order, yes. Nah, I must suggest him to think about another side of that, gitu ya. Procedural text itu kan ada step-stepnya, ada something in order, yes. Kemudian ketika Tuhan menciptakan manusia, kemudian they tend to disobey, they tend to not to see the rules, the procedure, the steps, the stages, and then they just want to jump into something instant, right? Very quick. Nah, and when people don't give like clear instructions following the steps in the procedural text, they might cause miscommunication, right? Yeah. And when communication occurs, then people won't be able to understand each other. And that's actually what God wants us to relate with, right? When we relate, when we interact with each other, there is an understanding, there is a wisdom which connect us, and that's how we can share gospel through the things that we are doing and what we are saying, that will not bring any misunderstanding or miscommunication among us, right? So that is actually the core and how the link between procedural text and the BCW itu ya tadi gitu ya yang Theo sampaikan. Oke Theo, semangat Theo. And giving examples before you jump into the discussions of the rubric, that is very important as well. Just like what Olin also mentioned on the Moodle, giving example will guide the students to know exactly what your expectations are that you have mentioned earlier in your micro teaching, Theo. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all for Theo's micro teaching. Is there any other feedback, strong insights, strong feedback from other friends? Oh, one more thing. Sorry. One more thing, but it's related to Anya's micro teaching. Yeah, Anya. Anya, are you still here?
Yes.
Yes. Anya, one